Greetings, everyone. I'm Miles Thomas, President of the Board of Directors at Kingsley House. I would like to welcome you to our 124th Annual Meeting and Awards Ceremony. Today, we celebrate Kingsley House's 124 years of life-transforming services. These are challenging times, and I am so proud to support this great organization today more than ever. Since March 16, 2020, when the stay-at-home order was issued, through creative virtual and in-person programming, Kingsley House has continued to provide essential services that support the continued growth and development of young children and to ensure the overall well-being of families, medically fragile adults, seniors, and veterans throughout our community. The organization has done an amazing job each day adapting how they serve families during the pandemic. Teachers continue to prepare children for success in school and in life with online classrooms and virtual programming, as well as intensive engagement with parents. Family advocates and community services staff continue to link families to critical resources and career opportunities, working in tandem with our Kingsley Connections Career Pathways partners. And the Kingsley Adult Daycare team provides much needed resources and ongoing virtual engagement with our seniors, veterans, and medically fragile adults to reduce social isolation and improve their physical and mental health. But this pivot in service is only half of the story. It is the preparation and planning of this organization prior to March 2020 that positioned the agency to be able to do truly amazing work through the crisis, while continuing to strategically move forward. This groundwork is the genesis of so many successes that I would like to share with you. Learning has continued. Prior to COVID-19, Kingsley House's ongoing intensive engagement with parents and caregivers set the groundwork for the vast majority of our more than 700 families to work remotely with our teachers to enable children to continue to learn and master new skills. Financial coaching has continued. In addition to connecting families to needed community resources, family advocates have been providing financial education and coaching to families. In fact, they have actively coached 134 families to save from their stimulus and unemployment benefits and to open savings accounts. One parent is using her stimulus money and some of her unemployment to pay down debt and to save toward buying the family's first house. Several parents have used these resources to complete car repairs and have chosen to pay rent a few months in advance just in case. This is economic self-sufficiency in action. The Workforce Development Program was solidified. Over the past year, the agency established new partnerships that positioned us to be able to support families in securing good-paying jobs and promising careers. While some parents remain employed, 116 of our family's primary wage earners have lost their jobs during the pandemic. Therefore, our family advocates have assisted with filing for benefits and are actively working together with staff with our Kingsley Connection Career Pathways program. In fact, during the stay-at-home order, some parents have completed the patient care technician certification through our partnership with Ochsner and New Orleans Career Center, immediately resulting in employment with Ochsner. In addition, job opportunities have been shared with parents at Amazon with better than living wage starting salaries. The number of families served has increased through a new partnership formed by our Community and Supportive Services program to provide community-based services and resources to hundreds of families and individuals living in the Lafitte-Faubourg mixed income community and Sacred Heart Senior Housing, both located in the Gentilly area. A special task force was convened to tackle the urgent need to address health disparities for senior adults and the medically fragile, and to develop an innovative intervention model specifically designed to improve their mental and physical health during the current COVID-19 crisis and its aftermath. It has been this strategic investment in our participants, staff, local and national partnerships that has positioned Kingsley House to not only weather this crisis, but to provide creative and innovative services and to engage with families in meaningful and productive ways. Thank you all for making this yet another highly impactful year for the thousands of children, families, seniors, medically fragile adults, and veterans that we serve. We couldn't have done it without you.
Hello, I am Sheman Grant-Saloy, Kingsley House Board Vice President. This evening, we will honor those who are doing great things for Kingsley House and our community. We will begin our award ceremony with the Libby Milton Champion for Children Award. The award is named for Elizabeth Libby Milton, who served as a member of the Kingsley House staff leadership for 50 years and dedicated her life's work to improving the well-being of children and families. This award recognizes a member of the Kingsley House family who has made significant accomplishments on behalf of children. This year's award goes to an individual who has been on the teaching staff at Kingsley House for 30 years. She is known as a dedicated, artistic, tough, loving, caring, and patient teacher. She is quick to help her fellow colleagues, and when you thank her for her assistance, her response is always, "That's what I'm supposed to do." She is known for providing one-on-one support to children who have difficulty managing their emotions and verbally expressing how they feel. She often motivates the children and her colleagues to utilize their artistic abilities to express themselves. Her relationship started at Kingsley House early in her life. Her mom, Lillian, was also a member of the Kingsley House Head Start staff. Miss Karen Hansel is like a Kingsley House legend. When you tell someone you work at Kingsley House, so many will say, "Miss Karen was their teacher," or "Miss Karen is my girl." Parents love her, and former students and parents come back regularly to thank her. Her dedication to Kingsley House can often be seen in the campus halls as she leads the children in the Kingsley House song. Or you may have seen her work at our annual fundraiser, as Karen is the art director of this effort. It is my privilege to present the Libby Milton Champion for Children Award to Karen Hansel. The Eleanor McMain and Bonita Gacho Book Award is named for the first Chief Executive Officer of Kingsley House and a well-respected former Kingsley House board member. This honor is granted to a staff person who is in college or who is planning to continue his or her education beyond the high school level. We are pleased to present this year's award to Ms. DeLynn Purley. DeLynn brings more than 14 years of experience teaching children 0 to 3 of age. She was nominated by Education Supervisor Molkina Coates, who wrote this about DeLynn. As a model teacher trainer, she is a natural leader, which makes her an asset to Kingsley House, and we are very confident that she will do extraordinary things for years to come. As an early childhood educator, Ms. Purley is very invested in the love of learning for her students. Daily, her creativity brings her lesson plans to life. Eager to learn, she attends numerous conferences and trainings and is currently enrolled in the Early Childhood Education course at the University of Phoenix, where she is an honor roll student, completing a bachelor's degree. We believe that her work speaks for itself, and no one on our team is more deserving of this award than DeLynn Purley. We take great pleasure in presenting the McMain Gacho Book Award to DeLynn Purley. This carries with it financial support for her ongoing education and academic achievement. The McMain Citizenship Award is named for the great Eleanor McMain, who was Kingsley House's CEO from 1901 to 1934, and was also the very first professional social worker and professor of social work in the state of Louisiana. The award is given to an individual or organization that has demonstrated outstanding service to the community, to others, and to Kingsley House. It is my pleasure to present this year's award to Ms. Toni Jones, an outstanding volunteer at the Kingsley Adult Day program. Toni has been volunteering now for 2 years, spiritually motivating the seniors in her free time. In addition to leading the devotion, she loves making crafts with our participants and bringing gifts for the bingo games. Like others at Kingsley House, it is a family affair. Her daughter Keisha works for Kingsley House as a lead family advocate in our Early Head Start program, for which we are grateful. Darvin Wallace, Kingsley Adult Daycare Program Aid and Activities Coordinator, believes Toni is driven by the joy and happiness she brings to others, especially our veterans. Ms. Toni Jones is being recognized with this award because she is caring, genuine, and always available. Truly the definition of a great volunteer. We take great pleasure in presenting the McMain Citizenship Award to Toni Jones for her amazing work with Kingsley House Adult Daycare Program. Our final recognition is the Warner Award, named for the Reverend Dr. Beverly Warner, the 18th rector of Trinity Episcopal Church and founder of Kingsley House. This award is Kingsley House's highest honor. This year's award goes to a skilled civic and community leader with more than 25 years of executive management experience. Each day, Valerie Wheatley provides leadership and direction as the Chief Operating Officer for Kingsley House. Since joining our leadership team in 2013, Ms. Wheatley has been helping to engineer the organization's strategic growth, sustainability, and impact. In 2016, she oversaw the development and construction of Kingsley House's incredible Patrick F. Taylor campus, a 24,000 square foot facility that houses a purpose-built early childhood learning center for infants and toddlers and a state-of-the-art adult day healthcare facility for medically fragile adults, seniors, and veterans. Valerie is also leading Kingsley House's programmatic and operational conversion to a two-generation whole family approach across all of Kingsley House's programs and services, which is already transforming our impact on the children, families, and communities we serve. Most recently, Valerie has been the agency's field general throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, spearheading Kingsley's extraordinary, high-impact, virtual, and remote work throughout this community pandemic. Continuing her community service work as an advocate for improving childbirth outcomes and family well-being, Valerie works closely with the leadership of the Crescent City Family Services Healthy Start Initiative to reduce infant mortality in the region. Valerie is the former board president of Healthy Start Pittsburgh and a current member of the National Community Reinvestment Coalition, where she reviews legislation, helps formulate community benefit agreements, and advocates for financial institutions to be more intentionally invested in economically disadvantaged or distressed communities across the state and nation. Valerie is a 2017 alumna of the Campaign for Equity NOLA and is a current member of the campaign's Economic Development and Business Equity team. She also leads Kingsley House's effort to advance race, equality, diversity, and inclusion within and outside our walls. On behalf of Trinity Episcopal Church, of which the Reverend Dr. Beverly Warner was the 18th rector from 1893 to 1910, and founder of Kingsley House, and upon the recommendation of the Kingsley House Board of Directors, we take great pleasure in presenting Valerie Wheatley with a Beverly Warner Award for her complete dedication and commitment to the children, families, seniors, veterans, and medically fragile individuals of Kingsley House and our community.
Hi, and congratulations to all the winners. I can't help but take a personal moment to tell you how thrilled I am that Valerie has won the Beverly Warner Award. She's an incredible executive and has been a tremendous asset to Kingsley House. And in fact, on a personal level, I'm proud to tell you that I was part of the team that interviewed the candidates for that job and finally chose Valerie. That day, the day I first met Valerie, we had 3 folks coming in for interviews. First 2 went fine. The second, we thought was really a good candidate. We actually had kind of made up our mind that that was going to be our hire. Then Valerie came in and she blew us away. She was poised, she was confident, she conducted herself with such professionalism that when she left the interview room, those of us in the room looked at each other and just said, wow. So thank you, Valerie, for all you've done for Kingsley House, and congratulations on the award. I'd like to give the board nominating committee report for this year, and to make sure I don't forget anything, I'm going to read it. The nominating committee made recommendations to the board of directors, and on March 16th, the slate of the Kingsley board officers, new and continuing members, was approved by the board of directors. Here are the details. Board members whose terms are expiring and were elected to another 3-year term are Taniya de Silva and Brendan Green. Ashley Branch was elected to serve a 1-year term as our Head Start parent representative. We also elected 3 people to serve an initial 3-year term on the board. They are Stephen Colbert, Alan Phillipson, and Sue Williamson. Officers elected for a first 1-year term include President Richard Roth, President-elect Shamin Grant Seloy, Treasurer Claudia Powell, Vice President Christine Mitchell, and Secretary Ralph Mahana. And of course, Miles will continue on as the immediate past president of the board. At this time, we would normally have a ceremonious handing of the gavel from the current president to Richard, the current President Miles to Richard, our incoming president. But as you can see, we're doing everything virtual today. And in the spirit of that, I'd like to say thank you to Miles and Richard for your past service and for your commitment to the Kingsley House Board.
Thank you, Bill. It's now my honor and pleasure to turn this gavel over to my good friend and fellow Clemson grad, Richard Roth.
Thank you, Miles, for your service.
Now on to the rest of the report. Board members whose terms are not expiring and will continue on the board are Ben Butler, Yvette Jones, Shannon Joseph, Zuela Martinez, Stephen Pate, Kia Sherman, Cleveland Spears, Adam Swinsick, and Dominique Wilson. Board members rotating off the board are Gil Brechtel, Arnell Cozy, Katherine Gelderman, and the Reverend Kit McLean. And board members who have reached their maximum of 3 consecutive terms and therefore are not eligible for renomination includes me, yours truly, Bill Hammack. Congratulations to all the new officers and members, and thank you so much to Gil and Arnell and Katherine and Kit for your many, many years of service. As I mentioned, I'm rolling off the board, but I'm not going away. I'm going to stay on the Kingsley House Foundation board and continue to share my enthusiasm for this amazing organization as we work toward a historic milestone, our 125th anniversary celebration, which will take place in 2021. Be there, don't miss it. Obviously, an anniversary like this one is a time for reflection, a look back on the historical ways that Kingsley has impacted our community and serviced our community, both in times of crisis and in transformation. Again, so I don't forget, let me read a few of the important historical milestones achieved here at Kingsley. Kingsley was on the front lines early in the history as its staff worked to combat pervasive poverty and create healthy living environments, including helping to form the Anti-Tuberculosis League, where doctors provided free health visits and checkups for children and families. Kingsley House helped eradicate yellow fever by providing screening for windows and cisterns throughout the neighborhood where we were located. During World War I, the staff organized classes to train nurses' aides. There was a shortage of nurses' aides, and it was critical that this work be done, especially when the Spanish flu hit in the following year. Kingsley also supported our military servicemen during World War II, providing temporary housing as well as leisure activities for those in New Orleans before they were transitioned to permanent duty stations. Throughout our history, Kingsley has also been a recreational, educational, and social center for thousands upon thousands of children and youth in the surrounding area, particularly among residents of the Irish Channel and adjacent St. Thomas housing development that was erected in the 1940s. Through these community-based relationships, Kingsley had many firsts. It had a tremendous track record of doing things that were so important and doing them for the first time in our community. For instance, the first playground and structured recreational program for children and youth was right here at Kingsley House. The state's first summer camp, which gave rise to the New Orleans Recreational Department, or NORD, started at Kingsley House. In the 1960s, Kingsley became one of the first Head Start providers in the nation and have continued to do so for more than 50 years now. We also, in the 1970s, started our adult daycare program, one of the first in the state. More recently, Kingsley House has worked extensively to help rebuild New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. You know, we played a central role then in the region's recovery. The first community and supportive services provider to reopen was Kingsley House after Katrina. And after Katrina, we helped start the Columbia Park and Bayou District mixed income public housing redevelopment, where our Educare school is located now. If you haven't been to Columbia Park or Educare, be sure to make that visit. And of course, more recently, as Board President Miles Thomas shared earlier, Kingsley has risen to the challenge here in our current pandemic and is helping our community effectively cope through community health care. You know, when I talk about Kingsley's accomplishments from the past, Valerie gets fussy. She tells me, well, what are we doing now? How do we live up to that legacy? Let's focus on the future, not on the past. That doesn't mean she's not proud of these accomplishments. In fact, she's very proud of them, as am I. But it makes it clear that there's a lot of work still to be done. And without a doubt, we've got the team, we've got the leadership, both on the board and inside our organization, to boldly embrace and work on those challenges that are ahead. I hope you'll join us as we work toward our celebration of our 125th anniversary, and we will continue to serve our community, region, and state. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, and good evening, and thanks to everyone for joining with us tonight. I'm Keith Lederman, the Chief Executive Officer of Kingsley House. And I want to begin by also thanking Gil, Arnell, Catherine, and Kit for their wonderful board service. We're so honored to have worked alongside of all of you and know that you'll continue to be champions for Kingsley House long into the future. Thank you all so much. I also want to welcome Stephen, Alan, and Sue to the board and look forward to working closely with all of you, as well as our continuing board members and new officers. And Bill Hammack. Bill, I want to thank you on behalf of our your leadership has been absolutely instrumental to the success of Kingsley House in the past decade, and we are deeply, deeply in your debt and grateful for your extraordinary service. And Bill, I can't tell you just how pleased we all are that you'll be continuing on the Kingsley Foundation board. Just awesome. Thank you, Bill. I also want to congratulate our amazing award winners, Karen, Delynn, Tony, and Valerie. Thank you all so much for all of the incredible things that you do for Kingsley House and our community. And thanks too to Shannon and Bill for so beautifully articulating all of their good works. And Miles, I want to thank you for your outstanding leadership. We've accomplished so much throughout your presidency, and your dedication and commitment is truly unparalleled and just plain remarkable, most especially over these past few months during this community health crisis. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you've been there every step of the way. And as a small token of our appreciation, we wanted to give you something that we thought would be particularly meaningful to you, Miles. So, as some of you may know, we had planned to have a luau this July to begin a new annual summer celebration. And we were so grateful, Miles, when you agreed to sponsor and roast the hog for this special event. Now, in preparation for that 12-hour cooking extravaganza, and also the conclusion of your presidency, and with the expert consultation from your better half, Rebecca, we got you a 45-quart Clemson Tigers cooler. Now, I have the cooler right here beside me, and I was going to pick it up and present it to everybody, but it's really heavy, and it's really awesome, and I think you're going to love it. So some of you may not know, though I find it hard to believe, that Miles is a proud Clemson alum. And while we won't be having luau in July due to COVID-19, we know that you, Rebecca, Sophie, and Jackson put the special Clemson cooler to very good use. On behalf of all of us, Miles, thank you for your extraordinary commitment. Well, folks, today, as we have for nearly 125 years, Kingsley House continues to serve the community through incredibly challenging times. And I'm so proud of our staff, our families, and our strategic partners, many of whom are on this call with us tonight, for their incredible tenacity and creativity throughout this crisis. And so thankful to Miles and our phenomenal board members for their constant support, guidance, and encouragement. And folks, I want to tell you, I'm also grateful to all of you, our wonderful friends and supporters, for always being there for Kingsley House and those we serve. You know, folks, from our experience with Hurricane Katrina nearly 15 years ago, hard to imagine it's been that long, we all kind of learned the hard way back then that periodically, for some reason, our society seems to need these moments of profound disruption to lay bare the continued harsh realities that exist for so many of our fellow citizens, while at the same time presenting unprecedented opportunities for change. And today, the combination of the egregiously disproportionate impact of the coronavirus on African Americans and Hispanic Latinos, and the unrelenting, unjust, and appalling atrocities against our fellow African American citizens serve to once again expose our nation's failure to eradicate its historic, systemic, and structural racial inequities and injustices. Needless to say, my friends, we still have a lot of work to do in order to achieve the just and equitable society that we all want and need for our children, our families and communities, and our entire country to truly thrive. Well, here at Kingsley House, we remain committed to not just serve, but to help lift up the families we serve and the neighborhoods and communities in which we work. We pride ourselves in creating lasting change, as we've done for the past 124 years. So it's our goal to use this historic moment to strengthen our capacity to be an instrument of change to bring about, at long last, equality, equity, and justice for all Americans. We ask all of you to please join us on this continued journey, and thank you all so much for being here with us tonight and celebrating Kingsley House. See you all soon.